Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, the #1 Kill Team channel on YouTube. Except today we're not talking about Kill Team, we are of course talking about Warhammer computer games, that's right. Although I am a gamer for Kill Team, I am also a capital G gamer for the computer, which is what we're going to talk about today. And so when it comes to Steam sales, in case you don't know, every multiple times a year, Steam will have sales based on whatever they feel like. We get the Skulls event, which I think happens in May. That sounds about right. We get the summer event, the winter event. We get the Chinese New Year event. That's it. Maybe that's it. So, and then we get some random ones as well. So throughout the year, 4 or 5 times a year, we get every single Warhammer game uh, discounted. And because I own almost every single Warhammer game, I'm going to scroll down this list and say whether or not they are good and whether or not you should buy them. Because right now there are some honestly crazy sales going on. So I thought, let's have a chat. Let's have a quick look. Maybe you're new, you know me from Kill Team, you're new to the Warhammer IP, you started off with like the Astartes trailer, and then you thought, oh, you know, hey, let's play Kill Team because that's the smaller 40k, isn't it? Well, we can discuss that right now. Yes, let's get into it. Is there anything else we need to say? Oh, I suppose the first things. Question from me to you. What have you got on the hobby bench? Have you got anything cracking at the moment? I like to not do hobby. However, at the moment, if you recall, like 6 months ago when the leaks first happened before they hit Warcom, and we were getting for Kill Team all the stuff about the next box, I've literally forgotten the name of it. I decided I was going to do Sanguinary Guard, and I built them, and I did a reel like 6 months ago of me having built the whole team. I finally have painted one model, and I'm like, oh yeah, I hate painting. So I've one model, that's my Christmas hobby done. Good. No need to do any more. Excellent. Anyway, what have you got on your desk? And of course, if you do, let me know what it is you have on that desk. I would like to give you a commenters only benefit, which is a big double hello. Wow, so wholesome. Truly the wholesomeness knows no bounds in the world of Glass Half Dead. What is a double hello? It's a pleasantry given to you twice. Let's get straight into the games. Straight into it. It's 2.5, it's 2 minutes 45 late, Andy. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Right. I'm getting annoyed at myself. Okay. Honestly, we start with 3 big hitters. We have Total War Warhammer 3 for £12.50. 75% off. Outrageous. Then we have Dark Tide. Then we have Space Marine 2. Let's go through these in order. To the point that, you know what? If you're new to the Warhammer IP, these 3 games, in my mind, make up the core experience of under the Warhammer IP. As in, they're 3 really good games, really strong entries into the Warhammer IP, and that's it. They have lots of theme, lots of flavor, good mechanics. Yeah, these are just great, 3 great games. You can't go wrong with any of them. We start with Total War Warhammer 3. This is the game I have played the least. However, it is definitively a good game. It is a very good game. If you do not know what Total War Warhammer 3 is, it is a game where you can mass move armies around the battlefield, and that's what I've always enjoyed it as. I like it as a skirmish game to do some weird battlefield maneuvers, and I can pretend I'm moving armies around like a general. Great. I know a lot of people tend to do the campaign and they just kind of auto-resolve battles, and I don't understand that. So I can't really talk about that, and that's why I've never really gotten into Total War Warhammer. But with that said, there are 3 entries into this, and of course, as we will talk about in a moment, Total War Warhammer 40k is coming soon. If you want a rough idea of what 40k, what Total War Warhammer 40k is going to be, play Total War Warhammer 3. It will be very similar. There you go. But with thematic differences, but probably mechanically very similar. And for £12.50, I really don't think you can go wrong. The negative to Total War Warhammer is the amount of DLC. Now, if you buy it as a single game, I think this is absolutely top tier. Everyone should pick it up. Cool. If you want to own everything, I mean, if you look further down behind me here, there's just the one character is £7.50. It's like, so, you know, I couldn't really recommend the DLC. I think it's a bit much. But hey, they gotta make their money somehow, and if you're into the game, then the DLC is fine, I guess. Cool. Right. Darktide. So I played a bit of Darktide, as many people did when it released. I haven't played it since it's had any of the updates. I haven't played any of the new classes. But again, at £8.24, I really don't think you can go wrong with this. This is great. You know, trying to not suggest recommend a game is really tough when it's this cheap. At 32.99, it's kind of like, well, you have to like the genre, you have to like, but £8, yeah, buy it. Buy this game. In case you don't know what it is, you are playing a crew of like penal legionnaires in essence, and you can pick a different class and you run through doing missions for an inquisitor. It's a horde based survival shooter. And are these the right terms? Is it a survival shooter? I'm thinking survival extraction. It's not an extraction. Genres are confusing for computer games these days. Basically, you're going to shoot some dudes as they run at you in hordes of zombies. The enemy is generally Nurgle, so you're fighting Nurgle cultists, Nurgle scary things, chaos, etc. And you can be, I'm not using the correct terms, a guardsman. You can be an RBT's dude, that's a DLC. You can be an Ogrin. You can be a Psyker, or you can be a Zealot. There you go. Great fun. Really good. Really like this. As with all games, it plays better when you're with friends, but this is a fun game. It's supposed to be played as a 4-man. You can play it solo. You can just pug everything, but it is obviously, as all games are, better with friends. We then get to Space Marine 2. If you're watching this video, you have played Space Marine 2. I'm aware of that. However, it's a great game. It is a great example of being able to take your enthusiasm for miniatures and put them into another medium. So when you're thinking about, oh yeah, like for example, I get really excited by being able to cross my interests across different mediums. And it's great to have my little miniature on the table, but then being able to see that little miniature on the screen, whether that's a computer game or a movie or whatever, really excites me because it allows me to spread that enthusiasm across different interests that I also have outside of just, a Space Marine model. And this does this really well. It's got great graphics. It's got great gameplay. I have this is the other. I'm a single player guy. I'm not really a multiplayer guy, which is why Darktide for me is a little bit of an iffy purchase at full price. But Space Marine 2 has a really good campaign, really good single player campaign. It'll take you about 12 hours to finish, so in that regard, it's relatively short. But for $21.99, if you just like a well-crafted single player experience, I think Space Marine 2 is really good for that. And then if you want to jump into the multiplayer, there's a whole grind session you can do for it, which isn't my thing. I don't like grinding for stuff. I don't like playing multiplayer that much. But just as a single player campaign, $21.99. Bargain. Looks beautiful. You can, there's an armor creator, which I love. So you can go in and say, oh, I want to create a Tome Keeper paint scheme for my models, which I did for me. And then you can kind of look at that model on the screen and say, oh, that's how they've decided to paint the Tome Keepers in Space Marine. And because it's so much higher resolution and shiny and stuff, you can then attempt to copy that and use it as reference for your model, which is fun. Warhammer 40k Road Trigger. I have played about an hour of this, so I can't really speak too much about this because I struggled with it a bit. I didn't know how to play it. By which I mean, it's not a... So there's two parts of the game. There's the narrative, and then there's the mechanics. And when it comes to the mechanics, I remember I picked somebody, I can't remember their names now. I played it when it released, and I've forgotten at this point. But I picked someone who's like the captain or whatever, and his ability is like his ultimate super ability is give all party members 5% extra damage, something like that. And it's like, that's not exciting. That isn't fun at all. That's the gameplay equivalent of give everybody within 6 inches a reroll, a balanced reroll. It's not exciting. It might statistically be the best thing you can have, but it's not exciting at all. And so I never really delved into that system, and you have to make so many decisions up front before you know the impact of those decisions, that I knew 100% that I was gonna play the first 5, 6 hours, realize I made a character I don't like, and then have to restart, and there's no way I'm doing that. So I kind of bounced off a little bit, and then narratively, there is so much text, and it's not voice acted. You're reading novels worth of stuff if you choose to get really into this game. And so I was kind of thinking, well, do I sit here and go through every single text option and find out everything, or am I meant to skip it? Because if I don't skip things, this is a 100-hour game minimum. So yeah, this is probably one that I am going to say the first three are easy recommends because they are all very casual, very accessible for everybody. For a lot of people liked Rogue Trader. It got great reviews. Like, people like this game. But for me, this would be the first one I say, you know what? You have to be into the genre to purchase this, in my opinion. We then have Total War Warhammer 1 and Total War Warhammer 2. These are, to my mind, just additions of Total War Warhammer 3. In case you're wondering what they are, at this point, they are literally just faction packs. There you go. Yep. So, like, with this one, you start off with 4 races, and then they had DLC for it. Then they released Total War Warhammer 2, and you got another 4 races, whatever the number is. It might be 10 or something. Yeah, there is a slight issue where, for example, Total War Warhammer 1, I believe you got the Empire, and you got Dwarves, and comparing them from this game in 2016, so 10 years ago, to the new factions added in Total War Warhammer 3, you can tell that they look older, right? You can tell they are 10-year-old factions that did not get graphical updates. Look, when you're looking down from and you can see an entire army, it doesn't matter. You can't tell. But I don't know. It felt like they could have updated them. It is what it is. We then get Vermintide 2 at £2.37. This is a bargain. This is a steal. This is a must buy. This is a must buy above Darktide. I feel like, in case you don't know what Vermintide is, so you're playing in Warhammer Old World. So you're not playing Sigmar. It's the Old World, same as the Total War Warhammer series. And you're playing a group of 4 people. So this is by the same people that made Darktide. Darktide came out after Vermintide and Vermintide 2. And they literally just took Vermintide and said, let's make it 40k. So it has much more of Darktide, sorry, it has much more of a focus on shooting. So Vermintide, there's far less shooting. There's still some shooting, you've still got some bows, some crossbows, etc., some magic. But in general, it's much more melee focused. And it's really fun. It's really nice. I like it. I enjoy the old world. It's kind of what I grew up on. And so I like that I can run around it in Vermintide. If you like Darktide, you'll like Vermintide. There you go. That's a very easy statement to make. Dawn of War 4 has not released yet. We assume it's going to be amazing. Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy has not released yet. It's the same as Rogue Trader. I have already pre-ordered the collector's edition because I saw a Recruit statue and I couldn't stop myself. Let's be clear on that. So I am going to get it. I don't know if I like it, but there you go. We then have Dawn of War Definitive Edition. So this Dawn of War 1 released, in 2009, 7, 6, 12, one of those. And was generally considered really good. And I really liked it. And they just, a few months ago, re-released a definitive edition. In essence, this is a few graphical updates, but in general, they're just kind of making sure that all of the software works on modern hardware. There you go. That's how you should view it. But also, it is giving you, I believe, every expansion. So Dawn of War 1 released, and then you also had a Winter Assault, and you had Dark Crusade, and you had Soulstorm. And this is all of those wrapped up. There you go. Awesome. Love it. Really good. You should buy this. If you like real-time strategies, this is a must purchase. Even today, I would say, it does a lot of really interesting stuff. It's not a traditional kind of Warcraft or Starcraft type RTS. It works on control nodes, which is a system that we've seen come into play more and more. But really, Dawn of War was the first game that kind of did that as successfully as it did. I'm not aware of who did it before that. I know that the same makers, Relic, did Company of Heroes afterwards, which used the same system, but Dawn of War came first. I'd really recommend it. Really good. And, again, if you like seeing your army of blood angels on the field, you can do that in this. It's very nice. We then get a bunch of DLC for Total War Warhammer. Ignore that. Bolt gun. Okay. I don't like boomer shooters. However, from everything I've heard, Bolt gun was very well received. A lot of people liked it. Everybody said it was a great boomer shooter. Boomer shooter, in case you don't know, is an old style shooter, even though it's not old, it's like brand new, focusing on killing large waves of enemies with big explosive rockets, almost like you're playing Doom or Quake from back in the day. Again, really not my thing, but people like it. There you go. Not going to talk about Rust because I've literally never played Rust. So, Battle Sector. Battle Sector is kind of our first game that, if you look at the number of reviews on Steam, has way less than everything else. Everything else is like 10K plus and all that. Battle Sector only sits at around 3K. Not even that, but close. And I think Battle Sector is actually a really fun game. I think it's really good. And I think that if you are, if you're a kill teamer, that's why you watch me, let's be honest. Battle Sector is about as close as you're going to get to playing the actual tabletop on computer that we have in the modern day. Not so much kill team. Obviously, you're fighting with full armies, but it is a board game rule set transferred onto a computer game. Whereas the others are a computer game using computer game tropes and rule systems, etc., but with 40K trappings and fixings. This is the other way around. This is a board game system adapted into the 40K IP using a computer. But I really like it. So it's a hex grid system. It's I go, you go. Yeah, good game. Enjoy it. We then have Gladius. Now, I actually really liked Gladius. And at £3.50, absolute bargain. I think you get 4, without buying any DLC, you get 4 races, maybe even more, actually. And really quite fun. It's a 4X style game. So if you think of Civilization, it's that kind of game. But obviously a little bit more focused on just fighting each other. I enjoyed it for £3.50. I would not balk at that purchase at all. Really good game. 10/10 would bang. Is it going to be something you come back to all the time? No, it's not. And if we look at how many people play, it actually has more reviews than Definitive. Dawn of War. I'm really surprised by that. But moving on from that, we talk about Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. Now, this is one where I think this is a must buy. So for £7, if you were a kill teamer and you said, Andy, I want to play kill team on the table, what should I play? It's Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. This is a really fun game. If you know what XCOM is like, this is 40K XCOM. This is, you move a troop of like 5 Grey Knights around and you're trying to kill various demons. In general, Nurgle, because GW has a thing about Nurgle for some reason. Don't know why. It is what it is. But really quite fun. And you can play with, and there's some DLC if you want to play with the Dreadnought or anything like that. But yeah, like you get to do some space battles, kind of. But in general, you are running around as a bunch of Grey Knights, absolutely slaughtering your way through some Nurgle. And this is really good. And for £7, this is the actual game I would say, buy this. If you're watching me because you like Kill Team, this is the Kill Team game. There you go. Really fun. I have almost no notes. I suppose if I had to, the only minor issue is that the game starts off quite challenging and difficult, and you'll probably fail a bit. But then once you get past a certain point, you get a new kind of class that you can become. The game became super trivial for me, which is obviously a bad thing. They've got the difficulty curve just ever so slightly off on this game, but still well worth playing. Really fun set of mechanics in an XCOM style game for 40K. Which then brings us to Mechanicus. Now, very controversially, I'm going to so these two games are kind of the same in that the core gameplay is the same. You move some dudes on a grid, and you're Team A trying to kill Team B. Okay, the general way it plays, just looking at it from if you were just an observer watching, you'd say these two games are basically the same, and they pretty much are. And I think that Demon Hunters is the better game. Mechanicus has the better soundtrack, sure, and it plays basically the same. It just has such a different theme, and to my mind, it is a less obviously a likable theme than Demon Hunters, than Chaos Gate. That I think I yeah. I'm surprised that whenever I hear about 40K games, Mechanicus always gets mentioned. Um, and I'm really surprised that Chaos Gate doesn't get as much mention, if not more, than Mechanicus. Obviously, Mechanicus 2 is coming out soon. That's a whole other bag of mechadendrites. But yes, if I mean, look, even at £7 versus £3, I genuinely think that Chaos Gate is the better game. Now, there are some issues there in that I personally do not like roguelikes, and Mechanicus is a bit of a roguelike. That's just something that doesn't appeal to me at all. There you go. But if you want AdMech, this is the AdMech game. And Mechanicus 2 will be the AdMech game. And as an AdMech player, or if you just want to not play Space Marines, which obviously Grey Knights are, then Mechanicus is a good stand-in. I think, personally, wait for Mechanicus 2 to come out, because in Mechanicus, you can play AdMech, and that's it. In Mechanicus 2, we know we've got AdMech, Necrons, the Dwarves, Leagues of Votan, and one other. I can't remember who, but one other that are all playable. So that's just infinitely better. There you go. Yeah, Chaos Gate's best. Chaos Gate is the better game. Just to hammer that bad boy home. We then get a bunch of stuff, which we skip because it's DLC. We get Inquisitor Martyr. This is if you want to play. In fact, we've got Inquisitor Martyr and we've got Chaos Bane right below it. So this is if you want to play Diablo 40k. So Inquisitor Martyr is literally Diablo 40k. It has a far bigger focus on ranged attacks, but aside from that, it's fine. I never took to it as well as I did to Diablo, but it is good enough to be worth £4.19. I would, however, not pay the full price of £41.99. That is too much. I genuinely would not recommend the full price, but at a fiver, yeah, this will waste a few of your hours and you'll enjoy the time you've spent in it. But you'll probably hit a certain point and say, nah, I'm good now, moving on. Or at least that's what I found. Once I figured out that, okay, it doesn't actually play like Diablo, I have to play it slightly differently. Chaos Bane is Diablo in Fantasy Old World, so same as Vermintide and Total War Warhammer. I recently actually replayed more of this, not on here, on GOG, and you know what? It's totally fine. This is a straight up Diablo clone, whereas Inquisitor Martyr does its own thing a little bit. Chaos Bane is just Diablo with 40k, with Warhammer IP pasted over the top. It could be a straight asset flip, you know. And you know what? For £2.50, yeah, buy it. For £25, probably don't. For £2.50, it will again. It will burn 6 hours until you get bored, and then you can move on. Done. There you go. We then have Warhammer End Times Vermintide. This is a really interesting one because with Vermintide 1 and 2, I actually don't know why you would buy Vermintide instead of Vermintide 2. Yes, it costs you basically nothing at £2.50, but the games aren't linked. The characters are the same, as in, and they're in essence the same game, but there's no actual link between Vermintide 1 and 2. Buy the second one, it is better. There you go. You then get some more DLC. We get Warp Forge. Now, maybe a hot take, but I've actually played 40k Warp Forge, and I think it's a really good card game. I've played it for several hours. It's free. It's not on sale. It's just free always. Because they want you to buy packs, art packs and stuff, and fancy artwork and stuff for it. But I think this is a really good game. For free, I've spent no money on it. I've played it for a few hours. I enjoyed putting down cards and seeing all the flashy animations. Really good game. Thumbs up. 10/10 would purchase. Don't subscribe to their newsletter. They send you a fucking email every single day. And I just delete it. I really need to unsubscribe to that. It's really annoying. But apart from that, good game. It's free always. I've never spent any money and I've enjoyed it. There you go. Warhammer Chaos and Conquest. This is a free mobile game. Don't play it. It's really boring. It sucks. There we go. Speed Freaks. I did not care for Speed Freaks. So it's not my type of game. I'm not quite sure whose type of game it is. At £7.20, oddly, although that's cheap for a game, obviously, this is one of these games where at £7.20, I'd probably rather buy Darktide, which is a much more interesting, much more long-lasting game. But at full price of Darktide versus full price of Speed Freaks, suddenly Speed Freaks has a reason to be played because it's significantly cheaper normally. It's just the discount on this Steam sale is so large that. But yeah, I don't know. Speed Freaks is it didn't speak to me, I suppose, which is a shame because I do like orcs in general. But yeah, didn't do it for me. Okay, Dawn of War 3. That's right, we're still going. You know what? Dawn of War 3 was a great game. Fuck you. It was a great game. If you don't think so, you're wrong. Keeping in mind that I don't play multiplayer. I played this for the single player campaign and I really enjoyed it. There you go. Thumbs up. Should you buy Dawn of War 3 for £7? Easy. This is going to, £7 is going to give you like 15, 16 hours of gameplay, telling a cool story with really cool looking dudes on the board. I mean, the map, whatever. It also has a really nice, shiny looking advanced, what's the word? Army painter. Yes. For me, it's super important that your games for Warhammer have an army painter in them. I want to be clear on that. Any game that doesn't have an army painter is, for me, a little bit of an automatic fail. But if you are an Eldar player, or an Orc player, or a Space Marine player, or is it only 3 factions? I think it is. This is a great way to test out different colors on armies. Yeah, there you go. I would thoroughly recommend Dawn of War 3 at £7. Combat cards, I've never played. So unlike Warpforged, which I did play and recommend, I cannot recommend combat cards. I imagine it's the same. There you go. Pass. Space Marine. So obviously Space Marine 2 is big stuff. It's probably Warhammer's most famous game at the moment. This is where it came from. Space Marine 1 Anniversary Edition. I think the Anniversary Edition just gives you some DLC if you play the multiplayer. I think that's all. This is still a good game. Now at $7.99, honestly, it should just be it should always be £8. It should never be £32. This is a good game. I would say this is worth running through. It gives you a little bit of kind of context for Space Marine 2. Not that you need it to play Space Marine 2, but this again, the single player campaign is going to waste 15 hours, 16 hours, and you'll have fun smashing through orcs. I think this is a good game. No notes. We then go to, we've obviously mentioned Mechanicus 2. That's going to be great. Bolt Gun 2, I don't care. Rogue Trader, Vermintide. There's more I want to talk about. I've just got to find them. Where are they? Oh, Horus Heresy Legions is made by, it's a card game made by the same people that do Warpforged, and I believe it's basically identical. But I've never played it, as I don't like Horus Heresy. Ooh, Warhammer Underworld Shadespire Edition. So I've played this. At £2.50, I struggle to not recommend it. I don't think it's a particularly good game. This is as close as they could make it, straight up just Warhammer Underworlds on the PC. There you go. It uses the same rule set as what it used to be, and it's just you can play Shadespire which was the first like 8 teams or something on PC for £2.50. That's great. In theory, it has multiplayer, but let's be honest, nobody's playing this, so you'd have to play with a friend or against the bots. I don't know how good the bots are. Cool. There you go. £2.50. If you like Underworlds, if you like Underworlds, this is a good way to play Underworlds online. Fine. All right. I have heard good things about Battle Sister. It's a VR game. I've heard that for a VR game, it's pretty good. That's all I know. So there you go. Okay. Chaos Bane. Chaos Bane. Where is it? I want to say more controversial things. I haven't played Warhammer Quest. Haven't played that. Haven't played that. Where is... What am I... Oh. Shooter's Blood and Teeth is a fun little side-scroller game with orcs. I don't like side-scroller games. This didn't really do much for me. But, you know, it's fine. It killed some time. I probably wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. I have to not recommend some things just because it wasn't my thing. But if you like 2D side scrollers, yeah, play this. Where are we looking? Oh, Inquisitor Prophecy. This should have been so much better than it was. This was is this the Eisenhorn thing? Doesn't look it, but basically there's an Eisenhorn game which should have been so much better. It was quite janky and not very good. Not very interesting. It's a real shame. Come on. Where's the final one? Because I saw it. I know it's here. But unfortunately, I could just search for... Oh, you know what? Stormground. For £1.80. Age of Sigmar Stormground. This is really good. At £1.80, this is a great game. This is a little bit of a roguelike thing. And again, it's the kind of thing I like where it's similar to Battle Sector, similar to Underworld, similar to Mechanicus and Chaos Gate. This is you moving around a bunch of cool looking Stormcast or whatever the other factions you can be are. Probably the Ghost Guys, the Night Haunt. This was really fun. It's not super in depth, but for £1.80, this will kill several hours. You will have fun with it. There you go. If you're willing to spend £1.80 on it because you haven't automatically written it off, this is a great purchase, especially at this price. I undoubtedly paid full price for it at some point. It was fine. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Right. I'm looking for Realms of Ruin, aren't I? That's the name of it. Where is that? Oh, I've played Flyboys. That didn't... I don't think I even played that for like a full hour. It was fine. It was just so not my thing. It's not what I go to like my PC for. Right, there's 2 left that I want to talk about. I can't even see them. I know they exist, and it is Necromunda. Oh, there's 2 Necromunda. There's Mordheim as well. Okay, right. As I can actually remember the names of them, let's go and check out if they're on sale. Mordheim. Yes, Mordheim City now, £1.80. Auto buy. This is a really fun game. It's... How can I describe this? Again, it's a bit of an XCOM game. However, they've changed the movement system for XCOM to feel far more natural. This is really fun. You get to build your warband, and at £1.80, absolute steal. I struggle to not recommend. Like, I'd recommend that every day, even people that aren't into Mordheim. It doesn't follow like the same Mordheim rule set or anything, but like, yeah, it's good. You should play that. Necromunda Hired Gun, £5.24. This was a very competent shooter. When I first played Hired Gun, I bounced off it really hard. I then came back a few years later when I was really into Necromunda for the tabletop, and I played it, and I loved it. I think Necromunda Hired Gun is well worth a play, and £5.30 is a steal for how much enjoyment this game gave me. Definitely recommend. Underhive Wars, at £1.80, definitely buy it. If you're into Necromunda, these are both good games. If you're not into Necromunda, Underhive Wars does not have a good reputation, unfortunately. Underhive Wars released quite janky, and the AI is kind of bad. And because of that, like, I don't know, I recall that I was in, like, you know, one of the single player missions, and I was the AI 100% had me dead, and I wasn't like exploiting the AI, um, and like it just couldn't kill me because it just did dumb things instead. Now, don't get me wrong. When I'm clearly going to lose and the AI makes one mistake, that feels amazing for me. I'm like, oh my god, amazing! I've got this final reprieve. It's almost like, I have one turn of not taking damage when I definitely should have died. That feels good. Unfortunately, that's that was every turn. Not always. Like very often, the AI does totally exactly what you'd expect, and the game is fun, and I enjoyed it. I finished the campaign. It was good. But just every now and again, it's like, why is the AI doing this? If you like the Mordheim and just want another similar game to the Mordheim, for £1.80, this is an amazing. Like you get so much content for £1.80. To be clear, it's really hard to say no. But honestly, just because so many people didn't like it, I would kind of say this is maybe a skip. Although for £1.80, it really isn't. It's an amazing steal. And then we go to Realm of Ruin. Age of Sigmar, Realm of Ruin. Okay. When this released, a lot of people said that at £50, it's not worth it. At £5, auto buy. So, so my opinion on this game is very similar to my opinion on Dawn of War 3, in that most people disagree with me. However, I'm talking about someone that I'm only going to play the single player campaign, nothing else. And for the single player campaign, it gives you a series of missions with all your guys looking cool on the screen, and it gives you an army painter. This is the best army painter for Age of Sigmar, to be clear. So you can paint up however you want your Stormcast, your Nighthaunts, and your Zinch. That's awesome in itself. That in itself, you know what? A good army painter is worth £5. If you're an Age of Sigmar player, for £5, you get an army painter. Buy this game. Easy. That is easily a recommendation there. However, if you just like real-time strategies in general, for £5, this is cool. You get to play it. The single player works. The only thing you have to be aware of is that they made some interesting design choices when it comes to how the mechanics of the game actually work, in regards to how the units interact with each other. So, what you might be expecting again is a little bit more kind of Warcraft, StarCraft style micromanagement when you're doing your fights. That's not how this game works. This is a little bit more static. It's almost so it's presented as a full RTS, right? Um, but when the units interact, it's almost as if they lock, and then they can't unlock until something makes them. So in a weird way, it's almost an RTS, but with a turn-based system. But the turn-based is still real time, as you have to deal with the things in real time. But yeah, so not a bad system, I don't think at all. But it's definitely one people didn't expect, and I think a lot of people bounced off because of this. So it's not. They just chose a series of mechanics that people weren't expecting for a game like this, the way it's presented. It's not inherently bad, just not what people expected, and it does take a little bit of getting used to, I would say, for Realms of Ruin. But again, if you just want some cool-looking Sigmar dudes running across the mortal realms, this is the best game for that, and it looks really good. Okay, anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Wow, so wholesome. Thank you for watching, everybody. Don't worry, we're back. My regular kill team stuff later, tomorrow, and all next week. It is Christmas, though, so maybe not. Okay, thanks. Bye.